you by Tempzone. I'm your host, Sandra Rossi. The International Energy Agency has released its annual World Energy Outlook report. It shows that global investment in clean energy is approaching US2 trillion. That's almost double the combined amount spent on new coal, oil and gas supply. Despite this, the world is still on course for a rise of 2.4 degrees Celsius in global temperatures by the end of this century. That's well above the Paris Agreement goal of limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees. China is leading the charge with renewables. China's solar power generation alone could exceed the total electricity demand of the United States by 2030. According to the report, China is set to account for almost 60% of all renewable capacity installed between now and 2030. Solar PV manufacturing capacity is set to triple in both the United States and India. However, producing solar panels in the United States costs 3 times as much than it does in China, and in India it's twice as expensive. Australia is aiming to have 82% renewables by 2030, and based on today's policy settings, we're not likely to reach net zero by 2050. I don't think that's a big surprise. The Southeast Asia Energy Outlook report will be released next week. LG Electronics is on track to reach its ambitious goal of shifting its business model from business to consumer to a B2B model. By 2030, 52% of the company's revenue and 76% of its operating profit will come from the B2B sector. LG is looking to HVAC to drive future growth, expanding its traditional growth engine from home appliances. In the first half of 2024, 35% of LG's revenue was generated from the B2B sector, contributing 55% of the company's operating profit. According to LG's Future Vision statement, the company is aiming for annual average growth of 7% per annum in both revenue and operating profit, and a 7-fold increase in enterprise value by 2030. And finally, Honeywell is exploring the sale of its personal protective equipment unit to private equity firm Odyssey Investment Partners for US $1.5 billion. Honeywell's PPE business was a huge hit during the pandemic when there was high demand for face masks and other PPE gear. The news follows Honeywell's planned sale of its advanced materials unit. These sales point to a strategic shift for the industrial giant. Well, that's it for our headlines this week, which were brought to you by Tempzone. Thank you for watching.